Hey, good morning. This is our house reviews. This is my new string trimmer, Milwaukee Fuel Quick Connect. Got a Forge 8 amp hour battery and just string trimmer head attached to it right now. This will be a real life review. Not trying to use it how a homeowner really would. My yard got a little overgrown from all the rain we've been getting. You don't get a lot of grass out here. It's mostly these heavy weeds. Which this area here was full of these guys about thigh high, about as thick as they are right here. Got through 80% of it with the single amp hour battery. Switched to a 5 amp hour battery and did some of this lighter stuff. The 8 amp hour works real good. You can run it on high. The string trimmer has a medium, high, and low settings, which is nice for you're not having to adjust throttle and hold it. You can just kind of hold the trigger wide open based on whatever power settings you have. So when you're doing this thin stuff, you can just set it on a lower setting and cut through without having to hold back on the trigger. The 5 amp hours they cut. I wouldn't use them on high for too long. They'll get hot. But I still do. I mean, once I run out of 8 amp hour batteries, use the 5s and the 4s. But I got lots of them, so it's not a big deal to use it for 10-15 minutes and switch it to another one. But they still run pretty good on the medium and low. So usually I'll save that 8 amp hour for the thicker stuff like this, and then I will switch to the 5s for the thin stuff while the 8's charging. And I mean, I have a whole acre here, and pretty much get through the whole thing on the batteries. I got 6 or 7 5 amp batteries and a couple 4s, and then just the 1 8 that came with it. I'll probably buy some more at some point, but don't really care that much right now. And most homeowners aren't going to go buy specific batteries just for the one tool. I do have the other attachment, or some of the other attachments. I have the pruning saw and the bush trimmer. Both work pretty good. I'll do another video of those another time. And I usually weed trim outside of these, and then once I get into these beds, I just hand pull these weeds and by the trees. Just helps keep the stuff from growing. But as you can see, I work a lot, so I don't get a lot of time to take care of the yard. And this stuff, unfortunately, this is only about 2-3 weeks of growth. It grows up pretty quick when you get the rains out here. But let's hook up and do a little area and see how it works. As you can see, the head's got some pretty decent use on it. Usually when I'm completely finished, I'll give it a little spray off and quick wipe down just to keep stuff from too much build up on there. But we got a safety trigger, so you got to hold that down. Trigger's on the bottom, won't go. The trigger's a little heavy compared to a gas one, which has usually a pretty light trigger on it, but you know, it works just fine. I guess these are a new style head, which are a little more balanced. I guess the other ones wanted to roll a little on you, with the battery on the back, it seems to be alright. But as you can see, I got a full charge on the 8 amp hour battery. Let's see how it goes. So right now this is just on the medium setting. Nice thing about it is that it's not too loud. Normally I'd have my headphones on and listen to music or something, and even cans on top of that if I have my gas trimmer. But you can come out and do this in the morning, not annoy your neighbors. You can even do it late in the evening. Sometimes when I get home from work, I'll do it around like 8 o'clock before the sun sets. But like right now I have nothing on, and it's not annoying or unbearable in any way, which is much, obviously more convenient than running a 2-stroke at 7 in the morning on a Saturday or something. There you go, that was it. So that was about 25 minutes of solid runtime on a single 5-amp battery on high and medium. Let's go switch out to 5-amp and we'll finish it off. Alright, so we go. Here's a 5-amp. Let's see how long it lasts. And this is on high with the 5-amp battery. There you go. About 10 minutes of complete use at high. Pretty sure we're probably overheated on the battery. Let's see. Yep, you can see that. But 10 minutes ain't bad on a 5-amp. Normally I would just do that on medium. But you can see how thick this stuff is. It's asking a lot from a string trimmer to get through some of this stuff. Usually I just use a sorry if you can't hear me, I got my respirator on. Usually I'd use a brush trimmer for this, but just showing what people would probably end up actually using it for, because a lot of people don't have to buy 4 different tools just to weed whack their yard. For homeowner use, it's pretty good. I wouldn't really use it in a commercial. I've done land clearing when I was younger, and obviously we had some big stills and Husqvarna with big, metal blade brush cutters on it. Get through this no problem. But even on a commercial use, it still would work great as a, edger trimmer and light duty stuff. But let's grab another battery. Third 5-amp battery. That's a 1 8-amp forge, which is the high output, and then this will be the third 5-amp m18 battery. Done not too much, but some thick stuff. Certainly asking a lot from just a string trimmer. The motor's doing just fine. The string trimmer does only so good in this thick stuff. But that's maybe a quarter of my property off of 3 5-amp batteries, or now a third 5-amp battery and 1 8. I do have 8 on the rapid charger, and I have a couple more of the 5. So usually I've done the whole property without having to stop. That by the time I start running out of 5-amp batteries, the other ones are charged in the 8-amp batteries, and I just kind of keep them going. All right, let's throw it back on, see what we can get. So just ran out of some wire. I'll show you how to respool it here. Let's go grab some real quick. Alright, so here's some fresh wire. I think the biggest diameter that these Milwaukee heads will take is this is 0.95. But for this job it seems to work pretty good. But I usually pull off about 5 or 6 wingspans worth, 25 feet or so. Now technically with these, I'm supposed to take these 2 little lines and line them up. That lets the pass through go all the way through, but because of the twist on these things, you can get it in one side and you gotta really struggle to get it through to come out the other side because it gets caught on the inside lip. So rather than fighting with it and getting frustrated, I usually just take it off, run it through. There's another hole inside there, if you can see that. Run it through there, run it back through, hold it, make sure you don't get caught up on it, obviously. Clamp it back on there. And then from there, makes it easier to put it between your legs. From there, you just find the middle. Just grab one end, go till you get the other. There. And center it up on the spool. And you can just spin it. I like to hold this with one hand so it doesn't, otherwise it gets all tangled up. And then you just spin it. So you hold on one side and spin the other. You could just hold it and spin one side, but it's a little faster if you do them both. And I usually keep a little bit of tension on my hand just to help keep it tighter inside the head there, so it's not so loose. Less likely to get it tangled up when you're cutting. If somebody knows a better way to do this, just let me know. But one full head will do about half my property. Obviously, once you get down into the thicker stuff and then you're hitting the dirt a lot, it cuts it a little more. There you go. Looks like it went a little uneven, but it'll cut that off. All right, let's get finished up. Got my respirator. This, by the way, will be the fourth 5-amp battery. The 8-amp is pretty much done charging. I'm just gonna let it get 100%. Especially right now while we're doing this kind of thinner stuff. As you can see, it works pretty good. This is, what is that? Full 8-amp, 4 or 5-amp batteries to do everything you've seen so far. I switched to the 8-amp for this last bit, and looks like I'm down to about 2 lights left. If you are not doing such thick weeds, the 8-amp probably lasts you a good half hour on medium or even low. Like I said, the one thing I like, or not the one thing, one of the things I like is the being able to change the power settings. In these lower, around the rocks, the lighter stuff, I like to put it on a lower setting. So you don't kick as many rocks up, and it does just fine. And that way, versus like a gas trimmer, you're having to throttle the trigger a little bit, keep it at a lower RPM. This one you can just set and just leave it, and it seems to work pretty good. We'll get this last little section cleaned up for the day. Give the thing a little clean off and put it away until next time. I do have the other heads, or a couple of the other heads. I have, like I said before, the pruning saw and the bush trimmer, which you can see over here. I used it a while back on that. But maybe I'll do a review of those heads too. You know, leave a review or let me know, and I'll do some more tools. Sometimes I don't get time to do this sort of stuff. I just happen to have the day off, but my job puts me in hands with lots of equipment, lots of tools, and might as well show people what it's like. Because I know when I go to buy them, it's hard to find a video that's not sponsored by whoever the video is for or whatever piece of equipment. And they just sit and stand and talk about it and don't actually use it. As you can see, I've only had this for a few weeks and it's been through some pretty good use. Nothing's broken on it. Head's pretty good. This guy's already pretty eaten up. It's nice you can buy a separate one of those and change them out as it get worn out. You see right here that the middle's getting a little worn out from hitting rocks and fence and whatnot. But I'm not easy on my equipment. This is you know, how more normal people would use it. I don't have a shop where I'm gonna clean everything pristine every time I use it. I'm not retired. I got a full-time job, and so I use this stuff as hard as I can when I can to get the job done. Sweet. Thanks for watching. Bye.